Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MLB The Show 20. The ride and rosters have now been released. The full minor league systems are now in the game, and we are back for franchise mode here on MLB The Show. We're going to pick the Miami Marlins as our franchise team, and why not? 59-103 record last season. They have as empty of a stadium as their Florida counterparts in St. Petersburg, and they have a very low budget. They actually have the lowest in the league, just below the Pittsburgh Pirates by $500K, who are ranked 29th. But it's definitely an interesting team to use. It's going to be a difficult rebuild. We might have to implement some Moneyball tactics to compensate for the low budget. But this episode, again, is just going to be introductory. We're going to start things off by introducing the pitching staff, and Pablo Lopez, the best starter from an overall standpoint, leads the way. He won't be the ace of this rotation, but he will be pitching third in the rotation. You look at his stats there. He's a reliable pitcher who eats innings, but he hasn't found that next level, that ace stuff from the 24-year-old. Hopefully he can improve this season. Jordan Yamamoto, the 23-year-old, he made his name known last season entering the major leagues. He came in by storm. Struggled a little bit to end off this season. You see that 4.46 ERA. It's a little bit disappointing when you consider his start, but he'll hopefully find that form in 2020. Sandy Alcantara will be leading the way for the Miami Marlins from a rotation standpoint. Our ace, and why not, had a great season last year. 197 innings, sub-4 ERAs his last two seasons. He seems to be establishing a little bit of consistency and some reliability, something you need in a promising ace. Caleb Smith will be fourth in our rotation, the southpaw veteran. Nothing special from Caleb Smith, but he limits base runners very well. He eats innings, and he's a reliable guy in a 4 spot. Probably a traditional and a normal team, he might be rounding out the rotation, but definitely on this team, a strong number 4. Alicier Hernandez, 24 years old, 5+ ERAs in his only 2 seasons with the Miami Marlins. He is vulnerable to potentially a bullpen spot if his performance slides a little bit, and we'll tell you why in a bit. But you look at the starting rotation, one pitcher above the age of 25. We have a very young rotation. It's going to take some time for them to develop, but when they do, it'll be dominant. Arodys Vizcaino, a free agent signing just in spring training for the Miami Marlins behind the scenes, and look at his stuff. A great pitcher who has swing and miss caliber stuff. 2017-2018, great seasons. He will be a setup man to begin the year. Drew Steckenrider, 29 years old. You want to talk about swing and miss stuff. He also can provide the Ks. Last season was his only season that was disappointing, but if he can bring back 2017-2018 stuff, look out for the back end of our bullpen. Yimi Garcia, the former Los Angeles Dodger, look at his per nines. The only thing you can say poorly about Yimi Garcia is that he's a victim to the long ball, but a career whip of .99. He had one bad season in 2018, but everything else been consistent, dominant, a good player to have in the middle of your bullpen. Ryan Stanek will take a long relief role. He made his name known as the opener for the Rays. I don't think he's going to get many opening opportunities for us while he's here with Miami, but definitely a reliable arm in that pen. Paco Rodriguez, just like Vizcaino, was a free agent signing. He is a southpaw, the only southpaw in our bullpen. I definitely need one in that bullpen, definitely to bring something from the other side. He hasn't pitched in a while, but when he did with the Dodgers, he was consistent and solid. Jose Urania, this is why Hernandez is at threat of losing that number 5 spot, because Urania, if he can pitch the way he did in 2018 and shows some good stuff, he can definitely take that number 5 spot. His problem is consistency. So if you go your closer, Brandon Kinsler, I don't think he's going to be our closer this year, but he's definitely going to be a reliable piece in our bullpen. You look at last season, definitely some solid stuff. Well, that rounds it out for the pitching staff. We go to position players. Jorge Alfaro, 26 years old, has a cannon from behind the plate. You look at his stuff, around .425, slugging percentage, not bad. He hits decently for average, 262. He's an average hitter, but behind the plate, fairly reliable fielder. A little bit disappointing from what the expectations were when he came in. Hopefully he can improve going forward. Francisco Cervelli will take the backup duties. Nothing special from him, but a reliable backup catcher who'll probably appear in 50 games. Jesus Aguilar provides the pop. Well, we hope so. 2017-2018 with Milwaukee, 500 slugging and over. Definitely provide pop. Had a sluggish season with Tampa Bay in 2019, but hopefully his return to the NL brings back his Milwaukee Brewer numbers. Garrett Cooper will be a platoon hitter against right-handed pitching. Look at that 82 contact. Last season he had a very good one for a player who's a late bloomer. Quite frankly, 281 average, 446 slugging, not bad by any means. He will be platooning against right-handers. We go to second baseman, and I know Yaro Munoz has been all over the news in St. Louis. Problems with his potential role with St. Louis Cardinals. He left spring training, but Miami jumped right on it. We wanted to get him on our team. We convinced him. We used our sales tactics, and we got him. We gave him an everyday spot at second base. We gave him a salary of just under $1 million. He accepted with flying colors. He has a lot of Dominican Republic compatriots on our team. The morale's high. Look at his stats. Great contact, great vision, and his career numbers, 273 average. The power, a little bit of a concern, but he'll round out the order number 8 or number 9, depending if we're playing in an NL ballpark or AL ballpark to begin the season. Jose Pereira, 30 years old, another free agent signing. He's just a typical utility player. Plays almost every position, plays the outfield, everything but third base, really. He had some good years with San Diego, especially in 2017. If he can bring that back, that's a good value pick for us. Brian Anderson, 26 years old, a potential. I don't think he's reached that mark. He's a fantastic fielder at the hot corner, but a traditional third baseman, I'd like to see a little bit more pop and a little bit more offense from him. 468 slugging, not bad, but I like him to be that middle of the order guy that can be a threat in any lineup. Hopefully he can bring that. John Birdie, 30 years old, second base, shortstop, outfield, you name it. The guy provides speed. He's a 73 games last season in 2019. 273 average. He's a reliable guy on the bench. Miguel Rojas will be starting at shortstop for the Miami Marlins to begin the 2020 season. A very traditional shortstop, great fielder, great contact. He lacks in speed and power. However, you look at his slugging, 348 career-wise. He has 20 home runs in 643 games, along with only 80 doubles. Like, that's nothing special from a power standpoint. He'll get on base for you, but not with power. Corey Dickerson starting in left field. He'll be hitting from the left side at number 3 for us consistently throughout the 2020 season, and why not? Look at his numbers. NL, AL, it doesn't matter. He is effective at the box. 2019-2018, the NL with Philadelphia and Pittsburgh respectively. Great seasons from him. 300 averages, 545 slugging in the shortened season with Philadelphia last year. That's impressive. I would expect, around the 500 slugging this year with around 280 average. Anything above that is bonus. Matt Joyce, probably one of the best pinch hitters in the major leagues. You look at him last year, 129 games, 200 at-bats, so he pinch hit a lot. He had 295, 408, 450 slash line, 41% on base percentage. If somebody told me that I could have a pinch hitter that gets on 41% of the time, I'm taking that every day. One of the biggest acquisitions for the Miami Marlins over the offseason was Jonathan Villar, a great player returning to the NL after playing with Baltimore for 2 seasons. 274 average. He can bring some average, he can bring some power, and most of all, he can bring some speed. Look at that, 62 stolen bases with the Milwaukee Brewers in 2016. He's going to be leading off for the Miami Marlins for much of this season, but definitely a big piece to build around if you're rebuilding the Miami Marlins. Right field will be Matt Kemp against left-handed pitching, as Garrett Cooper takes a right field role against right-handers. Very good against lefties, 67, 65 contact power respectively. Had a very down season with Cincinnati. That was a small sample size though, hit 200. Found some life back with the Dodgers in 2018. I hope that he can bring back those numbers. If he brings a little bit lower than that, I'm fine, but definitely not what he brought with Cincinnati. We'll have to go somewhere else if that's the case. The other right fielder is Harold Ramirez. This is a bench piece. He DHs the odd time. 25 years old. He's a contact first type of hitter. Can hit into deep counts. Doesn't provide much else, so not much fielding, not much pop in his bat, .416 slugging percentage in his career, but he provides that average, 276 last season. I want him to start from the bench, but if he progresses well, he can definitely fit that starting spot, especially against righties in the near future. We now move over to prospects. Jesus Sanchez, 22 years of age, 65 overall. We have really little power in our lineup. If you haven't noticed, Jesus Sanchez seems like he's MLB ready from that perspective. He'll be exciting. JJ Bleday, an A potential outfielder, 22 years of age, from the left side. Very consistent hitting stats. You can see he's vulnerable to lefty-lefty matchups, but he has a season or two to develop that trait. Monty Harrison, 24 years old, A potential. I'm not sure about his future. Has not solidified a role with the MLB ball club. He starts in AAA this year. Do we trade him? Do we get rid of him? Is he a bust? Maybe he just needs a change of scenery. That would be a big question mark with his trade value right now. He's very valuable, and we can get a big return. But if we wait too long, that's going to deteriorate, and he might not turn into anything. Another center field prospect that's a little bit older than I want to be is Victor Mesa. 23 years old, average hitter, nothing special, 60 overall. Hopefully he grows and produces, or else he'll be a similar situation to Monty Harrison. We're moving on here to Jazz Chisholm, the former Arizona Diamondbacks prospect, is now with the Miami Marlins in their system. Decent hitting stats. He's going to start with AAA with the Wind Surge at 21 years old. A prospect that we definitely need to look at going forward and see his progression. A big piece for us, maybe even taking, an MLB step in the near future. Nazim Nunez, 21 years old, 64 overall. I like his fielding development and his speed as well, but he needs to develop some hitting. He's going to start with a jumbo shrimp in AA, but if he can develop that, expect him to be an everyday player in any lineup. A very intriguing prospect by any means. We keep on moving further. Isan Diaz, known for hitting his first major league bomb off the arm of Jacob deGrom, but since then, you look at 2019, 173 average, nothing special, under 350 slugging. He needs to prove he can be in the MLB. He's going to have to do that with the Wind Surge to begin 2020. A potential, though, very intriguing. Lewin Diaz, a very complete hitter. Look at that, 66 power already against righties. He's left-handed, needs to work on his approach against left-handed pitching, but he seems like an intriguing prospect. He's going to start with AAA with the Wind Surge, 23 years old, B potential. Intriguing pick for some aging first baseman that we have currently. Will Banfield, 19 years old, 57 overall. I mean, he's 19, he needs to develop. We'll see what he turns into. Going to starting pitching, Sixto Sanchez sticks out the most. He is actually our most highly ranked prospect on the top prospects, I believe around 35. 21 years of age, electric stuff, the velo, the swing and miss rates, something to be excited about if you're a Marlins fan. I will be. Expect him to be a September call-up at a minimum this year. Trevor Rogers, a southpaw, 22-year-old, 81 stamina. I really like that. His per-nines need to get a little bit developed, but he has a season in AAA to do that. Oscar Coles was a free agent signed left-handed pitcher. He honestly seems more as a relief pitcher. I mean, he throws very hard. His repertoire only consists of 3 pitches. He has 61 stamina. I'm going to start him for now with the Jumbo Shrimp in AA, but he might turn into a very, very good late inning relief pitcher, something like an Aroldis Chapman maybe. Depends if he can get up on the radar like Chapman can, but definitely an exciting prospect, whether that be from the rotation or the bullpen. We keep moving down. Nick Neidert, 23 years old. He's been the prospect for a long time for the Marlins. He needs to start improving. Like when you get to that age at 23, that means you need to start thinking about making the MLB. He starts off with AAA to begin a 2020 campaign, but I want him to definitely improve. We go to the lineups and pitching rotation, all of this. But first, we're going to go to the budget. And then we talked about that low budget, so it's not surprising that we don't really have many large, long-term, big chunky contracts. Our biggest one is $8.7 million with Corey Dickerson. We're very economic at this point. We need to make sure we're working within our budgets. There's only really one contract that we can really criticize. That's Sean Rodriguez. $5.7 million to be a minor league ball player. I mean, Sean Rodriguez is a great utility player. He'll get called up in September, but I mean, that's expensive. I don't really know what else to say about it. He has some good fundamentals, but yeah, we gotta get rid of this contract. The good news is it's only 1 year, so if we don't get rid of him this year, it's not the end of the world. It's not like it's a long-term haul that's going to impede on our progression to the World Series. Jose Urena, $3.7 million as a long reliever, maybe a little bit expensive, but if he can find his role in the pitching rotation, he could be of value. You look at the lineup here. I'm just going to show you the lineup against right-handed pitching, left-handed pitching. You can see VR is our leadoff guy. Dickerson batting 3, Aguilar batting 4, Anderson 5. Munoz will be rounding out the order. He'll be batting 8th when we're playing in the NL, which is going to be most of the time, and then he'll be batting 9th when we have DH implications when we play against AL teams. But this is your team. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of our lineup, our 26-man roster. I decided to take an extra batter for now. We might have to go to the pitching slots if there's fatigue concerns and whatnot, but I'm going to start off with an extra hitter, and we'll see how that goes. But that does it for this episode here. Thank you for joining me for this, introductory episode. This episode's not the most action-packed by any means, but don't let that deter you from this franchise series. We're going to bring you with a lot more action and excitement going forward, and it kicks things off in episode 2 when the Miami Marlins start their 2020 season, hosting the high-octane offense that features Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Philadelphia Phillies. And to make matters worse, it's opening day. It's ace versus ace. Aaron Nola will face off against the Miami Marlins offense. It's going to be an action-packed, exciting video. Click the like and subscribe button. I'll appreciate it very much. And we'll see you next episode at Marlins Park.